Good day, everybody, and welcome to my latest episode on the Malaysian property market. And today I'm going to talk about something which I feel is relevant on today's timing, which is the Johor Bahru property market and outlook for 2024. Right, and normally, at the start of the year, right, people like to do all this annual forecast, annual prediction, all the feng shui master come out, right? That's the time of the year that they make their money, right? So I think it's also appropriate for me, right, although it's already February, right, to talk about the Johor Bahru property market outlook for the rest of this year and what we think are going to happen to different areas for 2024. So as you can see, today I'm wearing red because at the time of this video, this is still Chinese New Year. So 恭喜发财 to everybody. Thank you to all my subscribers. 恭喜发财 to all you. Happy New Year, 新年快乐. Right. Hope you all had an enjoyable Chinese New Year. And I know I haven't made a lot of videos in January because it was busy and it was a busy period. And in Malaysia, we celebrate Chinese New Year quite a bit long, right? So I actually went back to KL for about a week plus, right, to see some friends, family, and spend some time with other people as well. In Malaysia, we celebrate Chinese New Year quite long, right? Compared to Singapore, Singapore is quite fast. It's just 2-3 days over the weekend. That's it, right? But in Malaysia, there's a lot of time spent visiting relatives and all that. Some of the traditional people actually take the Chinese New Year quite seriously. They will really celebrate all the way for 15 days until the Chap Gome, right? From some of the Hokkien, they'll celebrate until at least day 9, which is the Bai Tian Kong, the period, especially those Hokkien people, right? So in Malaysia, we do take our Chinese New Year quite seriously. I mean, in comparison to Singapore, right? So Singapore more efficient in the sense, don't holiday too long, but in Malaysia we do quite long. So yeah, that's enough for Chinese New Year story. So let me get into the root of it, which is the Johor Bahru property market outlook for 2024. Okay, so as many of you have probably noticed watching my videos for some time now, is that the JB property market has actually recovered since the down cycle or since the last peak cycle, right? The last time that the JB property market was so strong was around 2013, right? That is about 10 years ago. So that was the peak of the property market, the last boom. And for the past 10 years, actually, the JB property market has been in a very, very long down cycle. Actually, Malaysia overall, also the property market has been in a somewhat down cycle for the past 10 years. But recently, we've seen some recovery. The bottom will probably be during the COVID period, during 2020, 2021. Right, that time I think JB property prices were the cheapest, the best deal ever. If you wanted to buy, that would have been the best time to buy. But of course, many people won't buy property during COVID, right? But that would be the best time to buy. And the rentals were very bad at that point because, border closed, all these things. But actually, we have seen a recovery in 2022, 2023, and we enter 2024 on a very, very positive note. So if I were to show you on a property cycle chart, right, I believe that the JB market is in the recovery stage, right? We have not hit peak yet. Peak is still a few years down the road. Peak will very likely be when the RTS is completed 3 years from now, right? But we are already in the improving market, and I've spoken to some buyers I've been talking to over the past few years. Some of them regret they didn't buy earlier. Some of them happy that they bought last year because now actually prices have went up. So we are definitely in a more upbeat mood today. So I'm going to try and explain this by different locations, right? So let me start off first with the Johor Bahru City Centre, right? So Johor Bahru City Centre, we're referring to anything near the causeway, all the way to maybe KSL, this zone, right? We maybe include Danga Bay as a Johor Bahru City Centre. So this area, overall, the market is the best, the strongest so far. As a zone, this area, some people like to call it the Zone A, right, based on the Iskandar definition. So this Zone A is probably the best performing area out of all the markets in JB right now. A lot of it has got to do because the border reopened to Singapore in April 2022, and with that, a lot of Malaysians who used to work in Singapore able to come back. A lot of the Singaporeans also now can enter JB. So the market in this area has recovered the most, and of course, it's also spurred by the RTS, right, the MRT that's linking JB to Singapore. The RTS, right, is also heavily under construction. And since Prime Minister Lee Hsien Loong came to visit JB early this year in January, right, you can see a spike in demand. A lot of projects are selling very, very well. So you look at property prices right now, I think we are looking at rental have also gone up. Right, if you buy a condo here in JBC Centre, you're looking at 4 to 5% rental yield gross. Right, if you bought earlier, your yield will be higher, 6 or 7%. It depends on when you buy. Right, but today price you will get about 4-5%, which is not so bad. Right, and property prices have also gone up as well. So we're looking at maybe around 1,000 ringgit per square foot if you're talking about walking distance. to the MRT or walking distance to immigration. On average, 1,000 PSF. There are transactions as high as 1,200 per square foot. Some projects have started to hit or starting to ask for 1,400, 1,500 ringgit per square foot, which is a new high, right? We haven't seen these prices in JBC Center before, right? Actually, they are surpassed the previous peak in 2013. I think there was no project in JB that used to sell this price, right? And so it's very, very positive note, right? We do expect prices to continue to go up gradually, right? It should hit, on my opinion, if you see my previous videos, maybe around 1,800 per square foot by 2026, 2027 when the RTS is completed. This is my guess, the logical thing. And why I say 1,800 per square foot, because in Woodlands today, the median 4-room flat resale is also around 1,800 ringgit per square foot if you convert lah. So at conversion rate, right, we assume that JB Center will be about the same price as a Woodlands HDB, right? Also around circa 1,800 per square foot in 3 years time. So that's the upside potential if you are buying JB City Centre today. And for me, this is also the safest buy because rental demand is very strong. You don't have to worry about getting a tenant. The tenants are paying you very good rental, so they are quality tenant, right? Willing to pay you higher rent. Means they work in Singapore usually, right? Or are from Singapore themselves, Singaporeans, right? Or other nationality, right? So this is the safest place to buy, and you've got the upside potential of RTS, which is already very heavily under construction, more than 65% construction there. So this is the most prime area. If you see other projects in the vicinity, that means not walking distance to RTS, not walking distance to immigration, maybe driving distance, maybe 10-15 minutes drive out, right? So there are some projects like Avenue, Trellis, Paragon Gateway, all these are Danga Bay, Country Garden. They have also been selling very well, right? They've been clearing stock at a rapid pace. I think Country Garden sells like easily 20-30 units a month, right? I don't know all the sales rates for all the projects. I think Trellis is fully booked right now, maybe only pending Boomi. So Boomi release. So a lot of projects are selling quite well, right? They are not walking distance and they are cheaper. So some of them are between 600 to 900 per square foot on the price because they're further away, right? But their sales rate is strong. And normally they will provide things like shuttle bus to tell you how to get to to RTS, right? Because they cannot walk, but it's not far, right? So their selling points that are normally all these shuttle bus kind of thing, right? So this is the range that they're selling, 600 to 900 per square foot, right? So and because of the sales rate is doing so well in JBC Center, you do expect some developers, they are actively looking for land in the area. We expect at least one launch in Danga Bay later this year, maybe 2, right? Maybe another one in the city center as well, not too far away. So at least 3 to 4 launches later this year in the city center area because sales rate is strong, and at around 900 per square foot or higher, right? The developer can make money at this price range, right? So they are willing to launch and demand is strong, so they will try to go for it, right? So that is the situation of JB Center today. If you own a property in JB City Center, it's also a good time to sell, right? If you are trying to sell, you can be a bit realistic in your pricing. You try and price a little bit lower than the developer price because you have to factor in resale costs, right? Your transaction cost, legal fees, stamp duty, all that. So you sell a little bit below, right? As long as your unit is reasonable, you don't buy you don't own an ugly unit, right? You own a decent unit, right? You should be able to sell with a bit of marketing, right? Yeah, if you need to exit, right, for whatever reason. But I do suggest, if you can, to wait until RTS completion, right? Like we see in RNF Princess Cove today, a lot of phase 1 owner, they're trying to wait for RTS completion because the price will go up again then. So might as well wait, right? A couple more years. There is no landed property in JB City Centre. Old ones, even the old ones today, the old terrace you see, right, in Taman Sentosa, all this, right, also 800k minimum, right? Old house, not gated guarded, right? But because of location, their price is around there today. We also see other things potentially going on in the city centre this year. For example, Kim Teng Park, if you're familiar with this area, is actually a very old taman of landed houses behind the RTS, right? We expect the Johor government to try and buy it, compulsory acquire back this plot of land, maybe later this year. If not later this year, maybe next year, right? But they did try to do before, around 2017, 2018. So they may try again to do this because the plot of land is very valuable, and as the RTS gets completed, this land shouldn't remain as old landed house. So that might happen. We also see some developers buying up old buildings, right? Which is interesting because normally that doesn't happen in Malaysia. Buy old building or take over abandoned building or old building to rebuild, right? We really see that with SKS Group taking over some old malls in JB, right? Similarly, there's another one, the Lot 1 waterfront, that may also happen, abandoned mall in JB may be taken over to be rebuilt. That's interesting thing because now land in JB City Centre is become so valuable that developers are willing to put in the effort to buy the old building and rebuild. The next area I will cover is the Greater Austin area. I call this Greater Austin because Austin, Eco Spring, Eco Summer, Bandar Dato' On, Taman Molek, the Greater Austin, that zone, right? Area. So I call it Greater Austin. So in Greater Austin, first of all, I think the landed property market there doing fairly well. A lot of projects launched by developers there, for example, Crest at Austin, Eco Spring, Eco Summer, they have all been able to sell their stock. A lot of developers running out of stock, nothing much to buy from them also. And so because of that, a lot of buyers had to turn to the secondary market. So all the local Johorian Malaysians who stay there, right, they had to buy in secondary market. So secondary market is fairly active. Like if you go to Austin Heights today, there's I think hardly any stock to buy, nothing for sale in Austin Heights. In theory, you have to go to further off places like Street Austin. And some developers like Johor Land, they launched a project called Sanubari, which is a terrace house. The terrace house is already around 1 million ringgit. So you can imagine it's a new record price for terrace houses in the area. Although the terrace house is a bit high-tech, I understand, Sanubari. Still, 1 million ringgit for a terrace house in Dato' On is a new benchmark price, right? So you can see that prices are moving up for landed property here. And a lot of buyers have to go resale market. So resale market is fairly active as well. If you own a landed property in this area, I think expect you to be able to sell higher definitely for whatever you bought it from last time's price. Right. In terms of condo, also actually, a lot of developers have also no more stock. So Austin has reached a stage where all the developers have cleared the unsold stock, and you see new launches happening. I think the most obvious one is Aliva, right, in Austin by the developer Astaka Padu, right. They are launching a condo soon, and we expect to see a couple more later this year as well in the Austin vicinity, because again, a lot of condo by developer fully sold. Some of it is quite nice, right? Like Mole Regency is very, very nice. I mean, for the price that you pay, I don't think you regret, right? So and a lot of people staying there, occupancy is fairly good as well. So although condo prices have not really moved up, right, they are still fairly flat, right? A lot of owner-occupier people staying, right? If rental is okay, strong, although prices have not really caught up, I think it's still early in the cycle. They may not push up so fast, right? But at least as a place to stay, if you want to buy something to stay, I think a lot of these condos in Austin are very nice, very habitable. Of course, Austin area, a lot of entertainment, food, and stuff, right? So that's for condos in the Austin area, and you can see that at this point in the market, right, it's become feasible for developer to launch again in Austin. For the Austin area, there's nothing much in terms of new catalysts, but I do want to highlight something that initially a couple of years ago, there was a big plot of land bought by a developer called Sintex, right, from SP Setia. So we actually expected Sintex to launch their landed terrace house this year because their land is actually a bit further off, so the Greater Austin area become bigger, right? So this land is by Sintex is at the fringe, but unfortunately, it seems that Sintex didn't get all the approvals from EPU, from the Economic Planning Unit of the Malaysian government, so their whole transaction is cancelled. Yeah. So what we thought would be an initially new batch of supply for this area now cancelled, effectively cancelled. So there's not a lot of landed stock coming in Austin, at least this year, right? So I'm seeing a lot of developers scrambling to find some land to try and do this new launch or new landed in this area, because obviously there's not much landed stock to buy in Austin, the Greater Austin area right now. The next area I want to talk about is the Iskandar Puteri zone, which covers basically Puteri Harbour, Medini, Bukit Indah, right? This whole zone, right? So Iskandar Puteri is a very popular place. I also own many properties there as well. The good and the bad is like this. The good is, at least from 3-4 years ago, the market is a lot better, right? Definitely rental rates have picked up. Their rental rates are higher than pre-COVID. But depending on the project that you own, your performance may be very mixed, right? So some condos, for example, are performing better than others. I give you an example, like in Puteri Harbour, projects like Tiga are performing better, right? Southern Marina can also sell, Puteri Cove can also sell, right? But some projects like Angkor Marina not doing so well, Medini also has a couple of condos which are not doing so well. Some are doing better, like Grand Medini and Sunway, those are doing better. So it's a very mixed result. Depending on the project that you own, right, you may find that your rental rate is better or your sale price is better. Some good, some bad, right? And for high rise, at least in condo, because in Puteri Harbour and Medina is a lot of high-rise. So a lot of these high-rise are still, some developers still have unsold stock, right? I think easily maybe 20% unsold stock still available for most projects. So until they clear this unsold stock, right, we will not see any new launches. So in fact, if you go to Iskandar Puteri today, I don't think you can find any new condo launch because no developer there to launch because the stock haven't sold out yet, right? And the stock is still selling at a price which is still fairly reasonable, about 600-700 per square foot. So some of the buyers who bought earlier still haven't made money yet. They're still negative or maybe flat, right? So in that sense, no developer will launch a new condo in Iskandar Puteri in the short term. Well, it's a very big difference, however, for landed. Now, in the past couple of years, there have been a lot of landed launches in Iskandar Puteri. So Aviana, Eco Botanic 2, all these projects have sold very well. Eco Botanic 2, right, their terrace house is now 1 million ringgit, right? So 1 million ringgit for terrace, which is actually not a new thing for Iskandar Puteri. Iskandar Puteri had 1 million ringgit terraces even many years ago, but we have not seen 1 million ringgit terraces in a long time. So now we are back. There are 1 million ringgit terraces now. Aurora Central, there's a lot of projects selling very well. And all these developers also sell very well. The landed, right? They have hardly any stock left. Most of them are able to clear. Avira Medini also able to clear phase 4, right? Also fully sold last year. So a lot of stock are selling quite fast. So we're going to expect new terrace launches to come this year. Sunrise has one, and a couple of other developers I will mention their names are also going to launch later this year with terrace houses. I think expect a minimum price of 800k and above. 800k and above. All right, you will not see 7XX anymore, I believe. Very hard. Even last year there was a project by Tropicana in Gelang Pattaya, which is the very fringe, 700 plus 0,000, also fully sold. So what more prime areas of Iskandar Puteri definitely will be 800 plus and above, right? Already, like I said, Eco Botanic 2, already 1 million. In fact, Eco World already bought some more land quite near Legoland as well, just behind the Pristine Medini, if you know what I mean, right? They also bought land for Eco Botanic 3, right? So they Eco Botanic 1, 2 and 3 now. So they will also launch, I guess, I don't know whether they'll make it in time for this year, right? But you can see that the demand for landed is there, right? So a lot of land are being converted into landed projects, right? And they're selling very well. So for Iskandar Puteri, what are the stories that will help push up Iskandar Puteri prices? Now, of course, the number one on the radar is a high-speed rail. As you know, the Malaysian government is trying to revive the high-speed rail project. So we will probably hear more about it later this year. It's still too early to say how much the high-speed rail will cost or how much it will help. It will help, definitely. How long it will take to build, right? I think all the timeline is still very sketchy. We do know that the HSR Corp, the agency in charge of the high-speed rail, they did close their tenders in January. I think there were easily 7 consortium that applied, right? So we do with proposals for the high-speed rail. Singapore will of course want to do high-speed rail. They will not say no. So but Malaysia to sort out this part first. Right? So the high-speed rail will definitely boost Iskandar Puteri. A little bit speculative though. When this will happen. Other things that will happen, of course, the ferry terminal to Singapore, right, and other things that are in place, also the international zone, right. As you know, the Malaysia and Singapore governments are talking to create international zone, and we do know that the international zone will largely be in Iskandar Puteri area. So how much this will help Iskandar Puteri remains to be seen because we don't have a lot of details on the international zone or the high-speed rail right now. So these are my big 3 areas, right. I won't cover the other areas like Skudai, Kulai, Pemas Jaya, and all these other more local areas. Otherwise, this video will take too long. But if you do want to find out more, you can ask a question in the comments below, and I'll try my best to answer them. Right? If you do want to talk about these other locations. Ultimately, property prices in JB will track Singapore property prices a lot. The reason why JB price gone up a lot in the past couple of years is because Singapore price has gone up a lot in the past couple of years. So when Singapore price shoot up, right, there's a lot of spillover effect into JB, especially when the border reopen, and a lot of people who earn Sing dollar can go to JB to reduce the pressure, the cost pressures, right, when they come to JB. So in that sense, we will track Singapore prices quite a lot. So Singapore property market, although this year will be slower, but it will still remain quite elevated. Like Singapore government will not allow Singapore property prices to crash. So because of that, we will always expect JB prices to remain very stable as well, and will climb a little bit as the Singapore to try and get that balance with Singapore, right? Especially when the RTS is coming in 2-3 years from now. So this is my opinion, right, on how you should look at it, and that's also the reason why JB price also will not drop, right? in the short term, right, or in the medium term, in fact, right, as long as RTS is there. And due to high construction costs and inflation, right, a lot of property developer will not launch the same project, will not launch a project at the 10-year ago price, right? So some of you are trying to buy like 10 years ago prices. You can get that if you buy from balanced stock, right? But the new developer, right, the developer launching the new project, right, who have to launch at a certain price range now because they cannot, construction cost has already gone up. So there's no way they can sell 10 years ago price. So you see like City Centre, right? Why developer there to launch? Because now it's 900 per square foot on average for a new launch, right? They're not going to do cheaper already because cannot make money, right? So they're not going to sell 600 or 500 per square foot, no more already. So they have to sell higher already, right? So in that sense, right, JB prices, the inflation effect will help to keep JB property prices up. Finally, I also want to talk a little bit about politics. Some of you may be concerned about the political situation in Malaysia. I can only say that the Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim has a very clear 4 years mandate left. So he still can be Prime Minister for 4 years, right? The political wind is such that very unlikely that he will lose the position for the next 4 years, right? Of course, there'll be a general election 4 years from now, and I think a lot can change in 4 years, so I don't want to speculate what will happen at the next general election, right? In fact, the Singapore general election is the one that we should all be more excited about, because Singapore general election coming soon, right? Not this year, then early next year, right? But the Malaysia election is still 4 years away, so don't worry about that. I think Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim is very safe for now. The other thing you should take note also is that the Sultan of Johor has become the Agong officially, and he has full support, full supporting of Anwar Ibrahim. So with them together, we also expect the Agong to play indirect positive influence on Johor, right? He will definitely want a lot of things to happen, for example, the high-speed rail and the international zone. So he'll definitely push for that within his own capacity. Final thoughts about my suggestions. So if you're going to JB to buy for own stay or buy for retirement, you buy whatever you like. Some people call me and ask me questions, hey Ryan, should I buy this? Is this house good to stay? I think if you like to stay the house, you like the property, you buy your own stay, right? It's not for me to tell you where to stay, right? I mean, you retire where, what type of house you like, whether you want big, you want small, you want convenient, you want quiet, you want busy, right? It's really up to you, right? So if you like the house, buy it, right? You can ask me for some general, property related questions, but generally, if you like the house for your own stay for retirement, go ahead and buy it. Don't let that stop you, because I think one way that a lot of Singaporeans are trying to reduce the cost of living, especially in your retirement age, is to buy a property in Malaysia. Spend some time in Malaysia, apply the Malaysia My Second Home. You can actually push a lot of your costs down. Like for example, like for myself, I do a lot of my shopping in JB, for example, right? So I can push some of my own costs down. So I feel that a lot of retirees, especially those who go to JB often, you know what I mean, right? There's a lot of things you can buy cheaper in JB, right? If you go to JB often enough, you don't even need to be a Malaysia resident, right? You can already save a lot of costs over there, right? So same thing with housing, right? If you like the house, go ahead and buy it. Don't buy what you like, right? For investment, the safest, purely by investment perspective, is of course anything near walking distance to the RTS, right? Where the demand is strongest, the rental is strongest. There's a reason why the demand there is strongest, the rental is strongest, because everybody wants the connection to Singapore, right? And that's due to Malaysia working in Singapore retirees, right? We want that proximity. So from that perspective, if you want to buy investment, you want to play safe, right? You buy there, right? As I predict, there's still some money to make, right? Because 1,800 per square foot is my prediction, right? So you buy today at 1,000 to 1,002 per square foot, right? You still got another good capital upside to play, right? So that would be my advice if you want to buy a condo, and of course the rental there is strong. Of course you can also buy landed, nothing wrong with that, right? But landed, you must understand your capital outlay is higher, your rental yield is lower, you need to spend money on renovation, right? And there's more effort required for maintenance, right? Of course, some of you who are Malaysians who are watching this video, you might want to buy landed as well. So go ahead, right? Because you want to buy for own stay, yeah, go ahead. I mean, there's no wrong in that, right? In that approach as well. But you must take note the difference of buying a landed versus buying a condo. Two different ways to manage that real estate asset. Finally, I want to talk about something which is called the urbanisation of JB, right? Because I also get this question a lot, that buy condo better, buy landed better, right? There's no such thing as buy condo better or buy landed better, right? People tell me, hey Ryan, Malaysians like to stay in landed, Malaysian don't stay condo one. I think that is wrong, right? A lot of Malaysians stay in condo. Okay, if you go to KL, you go to Penang today, right? A lot of Malaysians stay in condo, right? You go KL, Penang, where you think everybody stay landed, right? In KL or Penang, is a majority of people stay in condo in KL or Penang, right? And in JB today, this perception is still there because urbanization in JB have not really go all the way yet, right? Like if you go KL today, right, all the way to Shah Alam, the outskirts of KL, right, there's a lot of traffic, a lot of urbanization. Now JB is in a process where urbanization is happening, right? So what you see today, right, is that locals will still buy condo if the condo is priced below 800,000, right? Below 800,000, then you can buy 3 bedroom in many places in JB, right? So if I don't have a budget to buy landed, because today landed, like I said, terrace are 800k, you know. So I want to buy landed terrace, I must have 800k minimum budget. If I cannot have 800k minimum budget, I cannot buy terrace. So a lot of Malaysians who cannot afford that, they have to buy condo. So they buy 600,000, 500,000, right, 700,000, they go and buy condo instead. And actually they also don't mind, because once they think about it, I buy condo, yes, right, but my condo is in a much better location compared to landed. 800k landed, I'm buying outskirts, half an hour away, 45 minutes away from town. But 700k or 600k, I buy 3 bedroom, I can get within town 5 minutes, 10 minutes. You get the difference. So they are exchanging the size for a smaller place, yes, in a condo, yes, strata title, but a much better location. So they'll come to a point, right, when they don't want to stay in Pasir Gudang or Glam Patah or Kulai, because it's just too far away, right? And traffic, JB traffic can be very bad. Internal traffic, I'm not talking about Causeway. I'm not talking about Causeway. I'm talking about between JB town to Austin, JB town to Iskandar Puteri can be very jammed. JB town to Skudai can be very jammed sometimes. If you guys know what I mean, right? So at some point, the locals say, I don't want to stay so far away. I want to stay nearer, right, to office, nearer to entertainment. And that's basically what happened in KL and Penang. So this urbanization thing is also happening, or will happen in JB. Happening today in JB already as it is. So that the price gap today, I feel, is at the 800k level. Below 800k, locals happily will buy condo, right? In the town area, right? Or as near to town as they can. Of course, in city center, 800k may not get you 3 bedroom, I can only get you 2 bedroom, right? But yeah, it depends how much they price this proximity to town. But this trend you must understand, right? I hope that clarity was clear to you just now. Yes, so that is my JB property market outlook for 2024. I hope that was clear and you understood what I said. If you can even pick up 10 to 20% of what I covered just now that's relevant to you, I think you will have a quite good idea for your own specific scenario, right? What to do in your real estate property there, right? Intention to buy or sell, right? And my advice to all the existing property owners, if you bought at the peak 10 years ago and your property still haven't made money, I mean, rent out first. If you're not in financial distress, rent out first. The rental today is pretty strong. Try and get a tenant that will help you improve your cash flow, right? If you're ready to sell, some projects can sell already. You should be at break-even price or maybe even a bit better, right? I give you some examples like Astaka, right? Astaka 4 bedroom unit, developer fully sold, right? And now the existing owner are calling price 3 million. I see Astaka 4 bedroom 3 million, 3 point something million. Wow, I see all this price. 2 years ago it was only 2.6 maybe, and owner desperate to sell. Now 3 million also, I got owner don't want to sell. You can see psychology plays such a big deal, right? Right? In the market bad, everybody want to sell. Market good, nobody want to sell, and all the price go up. Right? So it's the weird thing of how markets function, right? But that it is what it is, right? So yeah. I hope this video was useful to you. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask in the comments below. If you like our content, do like, share, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Please share with your friends. And I'm a property agent in Malaysia as well as Singapore, so we do help people with transactions. Feel free to contact me if you have any particular scenario. My number is 81261626. Right, you can see it in the description below. Do like, share, subscribe. Thank you very much, and 恭喜发财, Happy New Year.